up on a live stream. Yeah. Hello, hello. Welcome to the show. My name is James. I'm sorry, guys. I can do a little better than that. My name is James Rink, and I am back with David Morrow, aka David Anderson. How are you doing today?
Hey, hello, hey folks.
Maybe can you speak up a little bit louder?
Yeah, hello. Yeah. Hello, folks. Sorry about that. Things are okay. Yeah. And I'm just glad to be here with you. Yeah. Awesome.
Very good. And audience members, thank you for your patience. I know we had a few little hiccups trying to get this going here. Actually, had to switch back to the original software, but everything should be fine now. So today we're going to be talking about some of David's experiences in the underworld. So let me pull this up here. A moment. So he has also information about the islands of the Aladdin Landing, also secrets of the four zones, a matrix flat like Earth, where he battled the world leaders, encounters strange phenomena with, of course, the Black Goo. And he used technology like the Digital Tesa. Is that right, Dave?
Oh, encountered and was trained to combat sort of digital how to explain semi like sort of physical but not physical sort of as yeah, well, going up against sort of digital beings. Obviously, others know them to be the Nephilim, a different variation of, well, obviously, trigger warning using, say, sacrament to have a physical play in a, say, what is seemingly a digital sort of original format, physical forms of, as you, well, a lot of you know about that already. I suppose, yes, yeah, Karen James.
Very good. Also, want to say hi to the chat members. Sophia messaged me. We've got an update about the Telegram group. By the way, if you like to learn more about some of the work that we do, we have a group on Facebook, a group on Telegram, and I am also putting on a conference again. So I haven't finished the website, but we're going to get all that information out there. Maybe David can come, but we'll see. So, yeah, let's continue on here. We have, so he's also confronted the truth behind the real monarchy, the hostages held within parallel dimensions, and the multi-system war for control of the other realm, a world beneath our own. So he was born in 1979, but he has Canadian, Scottish, Jamaican ancestry. He was in Project Superman, conditioned for combat and linguistics by age 4, and traveled on and off world. He knows 10 languages and was raised by the Nazis, but they were murdered when he was only meters away. David is a flat Earth believer, and he believes we live in a holographic matrix. So we're going to learn a little bit more. Of course, the flat Earth, there is throughout the multiverse, it is quite extensive, right? It's parallel dimensions that exist into infinity. So there are some dimensions where it is two-dimensional. And some of these people that have incarnated into our realm who see the world as flat literally were from that other flat Earth dimension. So they literally cannot see it. It's three-dimensional. But I'm sure, Dave, you'll have love to learn more about that. Okay, so he has received a download about the Ark and story of Aladdin. So we're going to get more into that. So, all right. Great. And audience members, if you don't mind, maybe you could donate to his PayPal, and I'll put that in the description. So I would love to donate money to you, Dave, but unfortunately, we don't really have many people donating to the nonprofit. But and there were some people complaining about the ads on Rumble. I'm sorry, I can't control any of that. Well, I did go in there and look to see if we can turn the ads off, but we need some people to sign up to Healing Soul Survivors and make donations so that way we can provide content for you without those ads. So, all right, Dave, how about we let's get into this. So, all right, let's start with the first part of this. Tell us a little bit about this island of Aladdin Landing. What is that?
Yes, uh, the Scottish Islands, Orkney Islands. This might sound quite strange. Was essentially what I believe to be some of the first landings on, say, the flat Earth plane, which developed into a digital matrix and sort of these holographic towers, projections, sort of semi-real, semi-holographic, semi-physical. So on this island, Orkney, where I grew up, quite a lot of where I grew up, there was a landing of, first of all, the super soldiers, some that I expect James knows, and there was also, there's about three different, there was Nordic landings, there was a city, like a crystal type city that was, was only memories of self is so much about that part. And there was, well, the landing of the Tesseract type thing, say, um, like digital crystals that were able to how should I put it? There was like a cave and there was these sort of different creatures. From a disclosure point of view, some of what sort of beings that came with that landed, and it was sort of like a mine shaft, as I mentioned before in some other in a previous video with James and some other sort of things I've talked about. Um, in that mine shaft going down, as I fell down, where one of my caregivers was there, and some horrible stuff happened. As I walked down and got after getting up after what happened, I walked forward and there was where I don't know if I can, obviously for copyright reasons, I can't say the name, some semi like so something was there. As I walked forward, there was sort of like a golden, sort of almost like trigger warning, cosmic type dust. Very strange, like from say people that have encountered sort of Men in Black, that sort of thing, like semi cartoon, semi human sort of holographic sort of imagery. And as I walked on, there was an open sort of door, and inside was like a almost like a treasure cave. And there was a man stood to the left, and inside was a big sort of sloping pile of these digital crystals, very sort of ambient, sort of visually bright and sort of beaming. And there was another being there that was the owner of. So what I think happened is there was a landing and they somehow managed to. They must have done a scan on the area and found what was the best place to land. As some of these races have superior sort of technology to what we see today in modern day society. And there was a landing of the super soldiers. I was on one of those crafts. There was also this race again that came with this digital technology, digital crystals, which then went on to be the first origins of the matrix that we sort of semi live in now, and also the Nordic race. And there was a crystal village that I didn't even know had actually, but I'm not allowed to talk so much about that. There was another race as well. I can't remember exactly who they were, but these digital beings, this what the leader of that digital race, and the film Fall, they call it a Fall. They had how should I put it? Like the first computers, the first sort of like so obviously like there's been sort of Ataris and sorry Avatar, sorry, but this particular um cave that was open, obviously like the ship must have come in the format of having some sort of door opening. Um I don't know exactly um I couldn't see all of what this cave. I think this cave was part of a craft, but I'm not sure exactly where the rest of it was. And there was this sort of being. sort of stood quite tall being, and there's the sort of smaller one that when I came to find out was the owner of this first digital arrival, obviously back in the late, sort of 90s, sorry, 1979 or 83, 84. The internet hadn't come out and sort of advanced computers hadn't been developed for the public to purchase. Obviously, that development of computer technology, you all know. Hello, everyone, by the way. But this technology has been around. The capabilities of what we have today from the very conversation technology we have now right here, and computer games and all the software stuff like that came from this landing. And originally, the super soldiers were sent to this flat Earth on the Orkney Islands, and there was also the surrounding of there was a craft that landed as well. It was almost the size of a stadium. I'm not trying to amplify the story. Made of crystal, like, and there were these. It was sort of, I say two, obviously the super soldiers good side and this crystal village, the beings that was semi-crystal beings, also on the good side. And then there's the other two or three other races that weren't so well, obviously not on the right side of, and as approaching, yeah, no, literally, like, you could say a word and the door would open and close. Sorry, James, would you want to come in, or would you want me to keep going?
Okay, so David, was this like a cave you just stumbled on by accident, or were you on a mission, super soldier mission in a body, one of those clone bodies they make for you?
Well, interesting you say that. It just happened to be that the house that I was living in at the time, I think I mentioned in the previous video, there's, as I walk down the road and go sort of towards, let me think, what direction would it be? It'd be more walking, going right, and you go up this little hill, near where the bus stop will be, where the bus picks up children for school, will pick up me and my sister for school, which is sort of a little bit, sort of a couple of miles, maybe 3 miles. Can't remember how far away the school would be. But to walk to this, so walked out the house, and it was quite late at night actually. I don't actually know what someone of my age, between the age of 5 or 8, can't remember what age I was exactly. Walking about at night was a bit strange. But as I was going up to this house called the kitchen, the actual house is called the kitchen. Um, yeah, no, fell down the mine shaft like some and broke. There is like a series of films and cartoons that's adapted and taken from what happened. I won't say the name because obviously got to be careful what I say. What I was going to say is that falling down this mine shaft, my male caregiver who adopted me was was sat down right literally underneath where almost could have landed on him, but just a few meters away somehow. I thought rolled and fell. And he's then does something really stupid. But as I sort of walk away, trigger warning. There's two children's heads that like and their bodies have been eaten or something. Sounds quite morbid, I know. And I look round and not the first time I've seen this caregiver pull children's trigger warning flesh from his mouth. Sounds a bit morbid, as I these two heads are sort of, and I was a bit. All I knew was that I just needed to make sure that I didn't show fear in any big way, because I just knew that that'd be the worst thing to do. Wouldn't get out of there if I was really afraid. And as I keep walking on, this is clearance or light and beaming lights over in front of this creature. Um, well, trigger warning without saying too much. That like you got the body of like quite a big, tall, like it's in a cartoon and film, and you got like the beam that lives in the stomach. I won't say there is literally the disclosure wise walking forward. There's this green fluid, and there's this golden doors and there's a being stood in front, and there's one inside, and they're sort of looking left and right. One looks, yeah, like a digital being, like a sort of like a robot, but almost like a sort of crystal digitized, sort of rounded. But he's sort of looking at me, and he's got well, not crying, but crying without tears. Very strange, the actual look on his face. Got something coming in and out of his head like an antenna almost, and there's something stood beside. and that would be a guardian or a guard, like with sort like sort of baggy trousers, holding a spear, with a sort of pointed knife, a golden spear, and yeah, what would seemingly look like a land that and also as the door was open, like semi, like trying to cut, it's actually closing and opening, like so opening, shutting, and yeah, inside there's like golden sort of stuff, like beaming stuff, like cosmic dust. And there's these big mound of these digital crystals. And some of them are like making clicking sounds, and yeah, no, it's I'm not entirely sure the reason why I went at that time of night to out for a walk. 'Cause it was, you know, the sun wasn't out. It was night time. Not many people about in the area. But but I suppose yeah, walking about. I wasn't even sure why I was doing it. I think as young children do, they choose to explore, as you know. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so did you black out when you fell? And how long did you black out? And do you think you may have went into the astral realm or through a portal?
Um, Not entirely sure whether I really hurt myself or not. I think I hurt my leg. I did hurt. I think the fall. Yeah, I think I was sorry. I had a bit of a lapse then. I was holding my knee and I had hurt myself, but for some reason, like something worse than that happened. This caregiver, he's trigger warning, a cannibal, basically raised by a cannibal, one at least one cannibal, sort of reaming of adrenochrome, and it's all wrong, really. It's what he did was not right. I won't go into it. So I just sort of walked forward, and I just knew that in order to get out of where I was, I needed to find out what was ahead, if there's a way to get out of the mine shaft, and so that was just all my focus. Really, just had to sort of shrug off what had happened. My knee was a bit sore, but somehow managed to. But then, yeah, no, it's very strange. This big tall guy, like sort of didn't really, I don't know, like a gold face almost, had a like sort of with this golden sort of spear. And but one thing that's just come from while I was talking to you, more memory. I think he was part of. I think he was just one of many very similar looking individuals with these spears, and the sort of the main one, like a robot, but like a digital sort of like sort of yeah. That's yeah, yeah. I tell you what's really weird as well is I don't know how to explain this, but to uh it would seemingly be that like in the story of Aladdin, saying like open, close or open, that would be without saying too much, gotta be a bit careful what I say. Yeah, that's that one sec. I'm straight back one sec. Um yeah, um it's very strange really the whole thing. Without saying too much, not allowed to, obviously, for copyright reasons, and sort of go into the story. But it would seem that the origins of Egypt, the flat Earth, before the holographic towers were made projections and the sort of different sort of layers and sort of mounds and different things, structure of the world that we live in, semi not live in. Um, this this might sound like a really weird controversy, but as some of you have well researched, probably something more research, to, I would say one of the first civilizations to prior to say the sort of matrix, that sort of thing, is the world, the land. I'd say some of the first um, uh, landings on this, what we call the world, the earth, today was probably on the Orkney Islands, I'd say, one of the first civilizations. But the landing of the super soldiers, I would probably put that down to but anyway, I won't go too far into that because while I speak, the Holy Spirit, Jesus, and God, I'm talking to, and they instruct me what I can and can't talk to. Obviously, and James, all of you understand that sometimes some things are sort of better left for another time, if you know what I mean. But yeah, that's all I can say on that bit for now. Little bits are coming back. The one thing I say is uh, yeah, that being went on to be the sort of central point of the internet matrix technology, really. But yeah,
Okay,
but yeah,
so you what you learned from that experience is that this being later became what's the internet through DARPA. And do you know what the connection with what that is?
the development of computer technology pretty much full stop. Like completely outweighed any of the sort of supercomputers, clocks, stuff like that. That the the earlier versions, like obviously the internet came into play around 95, 96. Like games like computer games that sort of came out sort of around 94, 95. Stuff that obviously things improve over time, computer games. But even some of these games have been developed before they became introduced into shops. Very. I won't go too far into that because some of it is a bit weird, like ID games and stuff. But at the same time, yeah, very interesting. Almost like, as everyone knows, the technology that's available, say to the public, what's been sort of available to a very select sort of few, is like way more advanced than what we got to eventually what we have now. Sort of the technology is, and you know what's also very strange as well is that this digital sort of crystals that were in a big heap and pile, they're able to sense their surroundings and other. They're able. Does that make sense? They're able to be able to sort of, not saying they communicate, but they're aware of their surroundings. Almost not living, but semi, but operational in that sense, like consciousness, but not physical, like sort of organic flesh, if you know what I mean. Not actually like sort of got like hair or skin, but they are aware of someone's moving and stuff. And this is going back to say 384, around sort of 86, around that time. I can't remember the exact year, but very interesting, yes. But all I knew is, like I've said before, another video, if you show like fear, then yeah, they do try and do things.
All right. Well, I think it's a good point to maybe move on here.
Yeah,
Now that was the island of the Aladdin Landing.
yes, that's
I was
right.
waiting for a genie to show up. Mm, okay. All right. So tell us a little bit more about the secrets of the four zones.
The four zones through what they do is like structural programming. They train super soldiers how to manifest using how shall I put it, materials like sort of dust and stone, different things, composition, like carbon construction of these sort of almost seeming like really small rooms, like 4 rooms. And so you can picture them like almost like in the mind, but it's not in the mind. So when you step back, it looks like these sort of like Japanese, those cubicle beds they have, like so really small, you can sort of sleep in these cubicles. But if you try and enter or go in, it's actually a lot more vast and bigger. Like it's almost like tunnels and access to dams, different things. So these compartments, like just sort of these 4, if you whatever one you choose leads on to say like a really part of America, maybe Canada. You pick another one, goes to Russia. Pick another one that goes to China. Pick another one that goes to Asia or something like that. So they seemingly look like 4 bedrooms, like sort of compartments. But then as you walk through, you end up in say Roswell somewhere. And they probe so like it's Montauk conditioning, but the compartmentalization of the mind allows one to go from one place to another. That's the only way I can explain it. This would
So,
seemingly
so
be like
those.
sort of, sorry.
Oh well. I guess I'll since I talked first off. So are these zones located inside your consciousness? Are these like alters, splits within yourself?
Well, the thing is, like holograms or 3D imagery, like those things, it's almost like seemingly mental. Like they induce tunnel vision, but it's almost like, well, yeah, like a quantum, like, so it might be like someone walks through a door, but the door, you bump your head because the door's not actually there. It might not be a real door. If you step back and look at it differently, you can walk through it. So it
Okay.
recognizes the mind, so it becomes something you can. If you just try and sort of open it or walk into it, yeah, bump your head and have to step back. But long as is that being trained to see 3D or see, like those pictures you get. Can you spot spot this? And that's sort of how they do it. It's very strange.
All right. Okay. So tell us a little bit more about each one of these zones. Are they
Yes.
like
Uh,
assassin programs?
do you know what I think it is? I think in the conditioning and programming, so like uh, a gateway or something. It's almost like through the looking glass. Really, it is almost like a sort of technology where if you're able to tune your eyes to the right vision, to the right pathway, you can walk through things, and you can walk through different things, and it's very, yeah, it's almost holographic reconstruction type thing where you calibrate the senses. But when these things turned up, the digital thing, they tried to prevent any of this trans. Sorry, I should have said that, trigger warning. Got to be careful what I say. But yeah, that's definitely true. Um, I suppose if you can imagine, if you go to like a fairground or something, and you walk into a room and it's like like mirrors and stuff. But in this way, it can actually teach people how to manipulate physical constructions, like with the mind, almost like manipulating, changing things. And I suppose in that sense, you might actually be able to, through access, able to enter. It's like one of the military, not military, one of the Montauk offices or something like that. It might be someone that can calibrate another part of these compartment zones. They can actually walk into a bathroom or walk into um, it's yeah, that's it's a sort of almost like a sort of multi-dimensional, sort of, yeah, very strange. But I suppose only specific programming can allow one to tap into this sort of system. Like so, each zone, it might be like if you go up to the one on the right, sort of the fourth one they call it sometimes. It might be that you might walk onto a plane that's flying over the Atlantic or something. It might depend, but there's certain, like the mind can sense certain environmental consents, but if there's worst we have to be careful of is that if you're not ready to do something, that's one thing they teach us not to do. If you're not ready to do it, yeah, that's the thing. And there were times where I sort of coming that I didn't really want, but it's very interesting. It's almost like a how shall like those revolving doors, but so more of them in four compartment zones. You can tune in to the right or to one sort of different places and stuff. Very strange. Really.
Okay. Thank you. So, can you tell us how exactly did you get this type of programming into you? Maybe explain a little bit about Montauk if you have that information.
Yes, I think it all had to do with the fact that it's going to sound a bit crazy. I think that some of the earlier like systems like Orion, different Sirius, that sort of thing, and there was the first Earth before. I think the first Earth sent offspring to form the heavens. That God sent certain beings to construct the heavenly realms, like around, and then from that point on, we were sent to Earth, the sort of flat Earth, and the sort of holographic, semi-physical, like sort of landscapes and stuff, and the development of the Matrix type thing. But there were still some physical parts, sort of these. So I think as we were sent in these like sort of pods, these ships that were sent that were as they landed obviously, like the compression chambers changed, and me and my super soldier family step out. One of them, very well. I won't say his name. I've been told not allowed to say his name. As we sort of stepped out, there was sort of cold and wind, and we step out and we're walking on this sort of land and flat. There's no light as such. I do actually believe this may well have been the first um, I suppose you think like the Matrix and being sort of time frames, time zones. How should I put it? I think holographic simulation. There must have been something that visited the area prior to our landing. I think it's a combination of many different things. That if you read the book of Genesis, the Bible, um, I think where even some of the names that are in some of the maps in Bibles, I think they're Scottish names. Some of them, I don't think they're always not trying to sort. I think, and also obviously, I believe the Bible, the Gospel. I'm devout to the Scriptures, but I do think that in some way these events from the crucifixion to the Genesis to some of these events have happened. Not the second coming. I think that's only event that took place in '95, but I do believe that actually I've lost my thread now. I do believe that some of these things have happened before, and there's been various different not well attempts due to the rebellion and disobedience of, let's say, mankind, etc. I think they've tried to start these things more than once, 3 or 4 times. I think there's more than, and eventually they sent us, and this will be, say, the third or fourth time that a repopulation of flat Earth and Earth we have today, the building. I think this is, say, the last one we're in. But there's been a new world as well made, and that's going to be called the kingdom of God, and the heavens will be still where it is. And it's quite difficult. The only way I can explain it is that in these, as you've explained, better parallel, multi-dimensional. I think that there's a whole how should I put it? If outside of normal sort of 3D physical, I think there's a flying process where those that can tap into other dimensional perception able to fly and sort of glide. And like on the Matrix where Trinity manages to break through the window and fly through like, with arms forward. I think there's a version of that where I'll be careful what I say for copyright. I think that some people are able to tap in to a sub state of mind where they're able to manipulate the way someone can go from one place to another, almost like a gravitational wind pull where people are able to go through slipstream type sort of traveling. And this, I think on the island, there's a lot of that going on.
Thank you. All right, we got some questions from the chat. So let's see here. We have, let me go up a little bit here. Okay, the immortal spaceman. Is that to do with quantum entanglement, and is that how you're able to contact alters?
Um, Going back to the question that I didn't fully manage to answer fully, and thank you, the immortal space. Hello, hope you're okay. Much peace and love. Yeah, I think all trigger warning. There was a lady who trained me um, for acuity, and we're taught tunnel vision due to the nature of where the programming consistency would obviously like 4-part zones. So rather than just one set of alters each compartment has a series of how shall I put it? So I guess like you've got the mind in say one set, they try and break it into various different compartments, but these compartments have become finer and finer, more alters become made through say trauma, torture, through fast reading, the augmentation process. So what would have happened is that in my situation and some of the other individuals involved, there was trigger warning, much torture, there was heat. So one would be fire, ice, the other one might be water, and the other one might be, say, flesh. So each different
Hold on a
for
second.
physical.
Someone's at my door. Hold on. No, you can keep talking. I just won't be here. Hold on.
Yeah, sure, sure. Hello, Ultimate. So I think in the sense of compartmentalization, once the programming is overcome, the perception of physicality and able to adapt to environmental changes and also the consumption of whatever it might be, I think that's where the sort of water would definitely have something to do with, say, within outside the gravity. So not symbolically, I think that's where one learns to overcome the reality, I suppose, and able to to do things like that. So that is essentially explaining answering your question. Obviously, I'd say questions a lot more advanced than I can currently totally fully go into. But wonderful question. I think it comes down to the simple fact that, well, there was this experiment they did in Russia where they got this individual to be blindfolded, who had a trigger warning, a rare blood type, and a very the makeup, sort of the nature, quite a rare sort of ancestry, that sort of thing. And they put blindfold on, and they said, right, okay, we're going to put something in your hand, and it's going to be very cold, something like that. Um, and so, we want you to hold it and try and crush it and break it. Um, and they said it's just an ice cube, so don't worry. So they put blindfold on before they give the items, and they said it's an ice cube, and they say we want you to hold it for over 3 minutes and try and break it. So they put blindfold on before they showed what it was, and once we held it, and he oh, that feels a bit strange, and he's holding it and trying to break it. It gets a bit painful after a few minute or two, and eventually he sort of throws it away because it's sort of starting to hurt his hand. And finally, when they took blindfold off after about 20 or 30 seconds, um, what realised was, so he took blindfold off looking, and he sort of looked down at the floor, and it had been hot coal, and it barely had a blemish on his hand. In that sense, I think the folding time, folding from one place to another, the thinking something's one thing, is how they train trigger warning. I don't totally agree with it. I think it's a form of the trigger warning, the occult, and I think it's taking advantage of someone's say commitment to staying alive, which is. But I think that answers it. But if you can overcome the physical, you can overcome time and space, and able to. Does that yeah, wonderful question, wonderful question. Does that make
All right.
sense?
Yes. So I got a voter guide for North Carolina. So everybody vote for Trump. So I just signed up to Elon Musk at that $1 million prize thing. So Elon, maybe you'll send me $1 million, but well, anyway. Okay. I have no idea what I just missed, but I'm guessing it was great. So thank you, Dan, the immortal spaceman.
Hello,
All right.
hello. Thank you.
Okay, so tell us a little bit more about programmable matter. What could you make? As you were describing earlier, you could create objects right out of thin air.
I think able to manipulate, but to create. I think what they were trying to do was teach us how to find a way to return back to the ship to try and uh, to a sense to see if the ship had any other information or anything like that. What was funny was not funny in the sense of funny. Able to, how should I put it? There was underground chambers, cryo chambers, or incubation, and there was a whole like series of these. They were half caste sort of blokes. They were sort of around the age of 18, 19, 21. They were in these incubation chambers, and they're all there, sort of like bubbling water and stuff. But I only saw a bit. I only caught a glance whilst being taken somewhere. I think it was after being beaten up or something or tortured. This woman managed to persuade the ones that were torturing, like kick my legs apart, teaching me combat and stuff. Got really hurt and damaged. I think it was my back was almost broken, it was bleeding, and she persuaded them to stop and said, leave them alone. She helped me through so much. I'm not going to say her name, wonderful lady. She was my training instructor. She taught me how to use rifles. She taught me how to sort of do a lot of fighting. I've had many different teachers, and she also taught me how to go from tunnel vision, which is where the quantum aspect comes in. And thank you for that, immortal spaceman. And they also taught me to go from tunnel vision to, say, wide vision and further afield, trying to teach me how to, say, manipulate my bloodstream outside and inside, so that there was a lot, so I'm able to sort of focus and change who I am, manipulate how I'm perception. So it might be a sense of each open might have a different way of reacting to different climates or or surroundings. So I might walk through a field or something like that, and if there's anything dangerous about, able to pinpoint blindfolded and stuff, but still able to have a certain amount of vision at times or change. Memory vision, they call it, where you just, like someone flashes a light and you get traces. Do you ever get traces, James, or ever had light traces? When you look at a light, so quite bright, and you can still see the residual light. I think that was trying to teach us to look at a light. They might flash a light in our face, and put blindfold on. Then we have to try and use the residual ambient light around after they turn the light on to see if we can still have a sort of 3 to 2 meter radius of vision. And the more we strengthen the mind more we strengthen the mind itself, able to enhance sort of abilities based upon training. And the acuity of the altars, I think each different altar might have a perception of green, red, or yellow, or red, or something. So each different color. So trying to teach us how to interact, um, like not say telepathy, but teaching us how not to use trigger warning the occult in terms of these perceptional training. That was a lot of programming trying to teach us to be independent from exterior forces, say stuff like that to but yeah, no, the different what would tend to happen as well is that the repetitive sleep deprivation and torture um was how they're teaching us how to separate our physicality from our mind and then re-enter ourselves and strengthen. So we're doing weight training outside of our body, so like stuff like that, and then re-enter, and it teaches us how to redevelop our physicality, how we're able to be our own doctors, medicine. So rather than going to hospital or something like that, we're trained to overcome any physical ailments, stuff like that. It takes quite so many years, months, but eventually it teaches us how to overcome. But we're also taught how not to be forthcoming with the truth about a lot of different things, because if does that make sense? So each altar that's created, we're given what we call dynamic selection. So part numeric, part point, but then still round or sort of so perhaps in some ways the training is to be say without symbology and also using symbology or mathematics and stuff, the combination of the two, trying to get us to delete certain like plus signs and stuff in our minds, the sort of digital but then trying to teach us how to catch certain things like say it might be like I see a 1 or a 2 or a 3, like sort of numbers and pictures in the mind, and then one number might come really close, like say closing our eyes, and then we reach out like to that number, might catch a cricket ball or something like that. Now, that sort of thing. That example is a bit wrong, but yeah, sorry, carry on. I just want to grab something. This is really wonderful interview, actually. Really good to talk about things, and I found that the more I do these interviews, and sort of based upon work going on, the more I start to realise that the reconstruction of normality, I suppose, to the point that that was part of the mission. The more you go from one state, and the more you come out of something, then I think that increases the strength and the wisdom, because that's one of the training. It was Project Wise was another sub project. It wasn't so much a longer lasting one. It was trying to find out our relationship with the crafts that landed. That was a lot of the project of that sort of the earlier
So that
days.
was Project Wise.
Project Wise, yeah, it was an avian project like birds and curlews, penguins, stuff like that. It was Project Wise. It's a French program because a certain contractors came to the island to try and sort of investigate and work out what was going on. Project Wise translates the birdman or the bird, sort of stuff like that. So that in itself, not sure. Yeah, that's yeah, it's interesting.
So how long did you work for Project Wise, and what exactly did you do for them?
They were trying to teach us how to get rid of viruses. So, what project wise, see if there was any thing that was on the sort of project wise will be also based upon how to abstain certain toxins or gas or sleeping gas, stuff like that. They even give us knockout gas and stuff like that to try and teach us how to, well, so prevent it from going into the brain or the nasal, sort of the nose, stuff like that. try and strengthen our ability to but also they was trying to train us like how to get over flus and colds and coughs. Different ultras can heal from a flu or a cough in 2 hours. Others like 3 days. Others like 5 days. But so thanks for the question about the spaceman. So I hope I wasn't rude then. But so the project wise was because they're well without saying too much. Uh, I suppose in virology or the immunization is probably a big part of, as James knows, and the rest of it, Montauk or Monarch programming. Um, uh, Immunization is strength, so the redevelopment of cellular, the faster one can redevelop, the more, say, anyway, you understand. Hmm. Sorry.
Yeah, very good. So, comment for Mr. Mission Control. A lot of super soldier memories aren't memories. They are a precognition about what they are going to do with our DNA in the future. Would you agree with that?
I think that's interesting. Yeah, I do think also there's false memory plantations. That's a very wonderful way of putting it. I've always believed there's some memories or installations, and I think there's other things that are physical in terms of some memories that say precognitive sort of planted memories, but behind that there is deep something's happened there or something's happened there. The compartmentalization. So I think what you're saying about precognition, um, able to that's such a wonderful question. Thank you so much for that. I think there's so much truth to that. I think it's a 50-50. I think there's part that and part something else. But I do think yeah, the perception of reality almost like the sensory um, prophetic insight they call it, don't they? Where someone sat in their room, they go into sort of catatonic, sort of the eyes become visual and starting to see, or looking at cars and trees, and then come back to where we are and then something might happen. So there's films like that, isn't there? It's a wonderful question. Do you know what? It's going to sound really rude. You've explained it a lot better than me. I can't actually say too much about that because I think you probably know a lot more, to be honest. Mm. Just being honest, sometimes I can talk on things, but sometimes I just don't always have I not know everything about that. Mm.
Okay. So, the next question, are you able to utilize some of your abilities in a positive way? Like, can you manifest or transmute matter?
Yes, through Vatican training and through say programming conditioning, how to be medicinal. I would what trigger warning. What a certain Michael would say. There's type 1, type 2. I'd be a type 2, so semi for conditioned for military sort of combat stuff like that. And there's the other part which I was trained to be medicinal. Someone who is able to assess and monitor the psycho. So if say I walk into a room and I sense someone's got the flu or a bug, able to find the right plants or fish to be in the environment that can dissipate or munch away psychosomatic, be able to deal with the bacteria and stuff like that. So, or it might be in some situations, if I see someone's got, say, like a bruise or a cut, there might be nothing I can do about that. But if someone has got something like, not cancer as such, or someone's got some sort of ailment or issue or allergy, my pictures in the mind come to the forefront after a certain time of being in their presence and even take on part of the problem and then able to say deal with that part from my space to their space so they probably wake up the next day and the problem's gone or I can use my voice or singing able to let's say transmute or change through vocals, who are able to break it down to the point of disintegration if it's a cancer or a bug or bacteria or some infection, able to and use the use of alcohol was used a lot on the island where I was. The more you take on alcohol, thin the blood and re-thicken, it strengthens the cellular reaction. So to the point that someone's able to increase the circular sort of this sort of enhanced immunity. So I think really what it comes down to is, yes, answering your question, it's the more I change myself or work on myself or the training given, able to influence in the right way other people's situations. Through baptism as well, the combination of getting away from the wrong way, not that was into the wrong way, so but to the point where I'm able to have an influence and pinpoint the problem someone else is having. That's an awesome question. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And that's sort of what we call magic, because magic is not subject to properties that are not subject to the laws of this dimension. So, what can we do to um, bend the laws of physics, as you would say, or just not be subject to them?
I think in my situation, I went to church a lot throughout my life. Despite the caregiver issues, it was an agreement for my adoption to be church going. I'm a believer, big, very strong faith in God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. And I think ultimately, there's always a part of me that's always used physical muscle strength to make sure that I'm not influenced or not infected with anything that is of a magical, intrusive sense. Not judging anyone that's had this still trigger warning due to the nature of programming, the ritualistic nature of what was going on. Always trying to make sure that I maintain the physicality within myself, the inner self is never going to be fully dominated by the influences in order to maintain. So basically, when you're younger, as you all know, a lot of what I'm saying, you all know anyway. I say about not my personal story. A lot of you, maybe some of you do. I don't know. Sorry, time to read then. I think when it comes down to it, lost my thread. Then what I suppose the only way to explain it is that I always there's bad and good rebellion, isn't there? I think when it comes down to it. Uh, I knew from a very early age, from even before my fourth, fifth birthday, that I was in something a bit strange, and that I knew that I just had to sort of maintain who I, my own personal core, who I was born as, and the wait for the opportune time to break away from the network that I was being sort of raised by. Not to say that all were involved from the family, some of them did, and even the two caregivers that did some, they also did some wonderful things by me. I had homeschooling as well as going to school, traveled different, done many things, got to see some wonderful things, insights, and saw things that many haven't had the opportunity to see. And so, in terms of gratitude, able to maintain the simple fact that current time growing up, there wasn't a lot I could do about escaping or getting away. Obviously, even if I managed to get off the island, and with what money, what passport, um, what resources. I don't, not many 6-year-old children have a full blown sort of bank account and able to sort of you know, buy a mortgage, that sort of thing. But that keep maintaining who I was despite certain influences, learning to overcome some of these things was how the wisdom project wise was bad, but the work put in is the training itself, and they sort of it's almost like getting ready to escape from somewhere. Does that make sense?
Very good. Okay, another question, and then we're gonna have to move on here. So, Dave, are there any other places that you speak about in your experiences? I've only watched about the other interview you did with me, which is great. So, any other realms that you visited that you would like to share about?
Well, uh, this might be skipping forward a bit, but uh, there I've seen underground world, the under within the sort of semi-flat, uh, almost not plateau outside. I've been inside the earth when they say the core of the earth is boiling hot, but there's like even like birds flying, and I saw a pterodactyl as well inside. It sounds very strange, almost very fantasy, but as in entering the earth. there's out this tunnel leading from some sort of engineering complex underneath the earth. As going down the tunnel, it leads into that sound might sound a bit strange, that sort of opening to a cave. And as you go down, the mud sand, sort of the mud, sliding down this, well, yeah, like an like a whole sort of world in different sort of trees and plants and different things, almost like a whole ecosystem with like, well, yeah, not just like people living there, sort of almost like tribes and with sort of futuristic equipment, but very sort of tribal wearing, sort of like so almost like some potato sack rags sort of for clothes because and there's all sorts of water and pools and lakes and sort of trees, very interesting stuff. And but there's also lighting as well, like gold lamps, like sort of to create a sort of say humidity and different well atmosphere sort of to like sort of to I don't know, can't really explain. I don't have all the terminology. Um but sorry it sounded weird then. But yeah, this sort of travel walk around and there's sort of animals walking about. There was this sort of like a trigger warning sloth. But it's a very different, very sort of a lot bigger and walking around. But the stuff that it's probably some would almost say from a mythological folk time, but it's some real under the ground. There's all these sort of things. They're all in harmony. There's not like fighting or stuff, and they've got weapons and stuff. But from what I saw, they were sort of working together very well. The animals very well, sort of not really attacking any of the humans. So but there's gold and there's lights and stuff and sort of beaming like external heating sort of things. Very strange things. Highly interesting. I think the engineering complex was part of the part of what was going on. So but it leads to this place and yeah, these people almost like yeah, like a sort of like caveman clothing stuff, but sort of at the same time highly advanced, really very interesting.
Thank you so much. All right, let's go on to the next question here. So you said here that you have defeated the royal family. Now, tell us a little bit about, or the truth behind the real monarchy. I'm sorry, and the hostages held. Oh, we'll just go with the monarchy thing first. So, tell us a little bit about that, the real truth behind the monarchy.
Oh yes, that's so strange you say that. My belief is the real royal family um, has uh, has used the royal family that's in the news and sort of what people see. The ones that are the older and sort of the more the real monarchy, the ones that have how should I put it uh, a lot of the actual the ghost monarchy, not ghosts as such, like sort of the actual real monarchy, the ones that people sort of go to sort of see at sort of events and stuff. Not judging them in any way specifically. They're not actually anywhere near as prestigious high up as the actual ones that the original monarchy that have been around what they call the panthers. They're animals and human physical. The Russian family have been the sort of the behind the scenes actual monarchy for quite some time. They have, like might have someone. Some call it totem, as in part animal, part so that sort of thing of a cat family. Some refer to the monarchy as, like the practice or like, the Lion King, the king's a lion. Lion symbolizes, but a lion symbolizes a king, and lioness or panthers or cougars, but they transform back into human form, and they walk around. They sort of got like how shall I put it, sort of olive skin or sort of semi half cast skin, but they're also how should I put it? They're that and they're not. Very hard to explain, but they transform. And so got to be careful what I say. But one thing I say is that the actual royal family that people know isn't the say they might well be related to say some of the older civilization or the older rulings, etc. From different time frames, different things. But this family holds a lot of world leaders and so ambassadors and stuff were actually hostages. They haven't had freedom for a long time. Even prime minister or president of a certain place was captive for many years. He had to go through a lot, but it's not that they're essentially being tortured or beaten, but they don't have the freedom. There's some think a lot of world leaders, celebrities, and more like hostages. A lot of them, they've got luxury, they've got best food, doctors, medicine, but they're not free people. It might look like look, world leaders and royal family, certain celebrities, etc. Can do come and go as they please, but that's not the case. They didn't realize that they were sort of standing in for a lot of other for the sort of the heavy monarchy. Yeah, that's and yeah, that being the case, but there are some of the bloodlines of Mary that us did have the authority that the Russian monarchy has as well. But the two sides, not in say war conflict, wouldn't say they were fighting, but they went on the same side, if that makes sense.
Can you comment on yes? Can you comment on whether or not the royal family are reptilians?
Um, in the code of, I'm not allowed to, I'm not allowed to say anything about that. I know that sounds, I'm not allowed to. Yeah, it's forbidden to do that to them for the simple reason that um, I've been told not to. What I know is that they're not free, and I think this other race, the Russian family, I think as you know more about a lot of things, James, a lot of these high profile or high powered, some not so prolific, um, uh, how shall I put it, as many have stated in other documentaries and films, in many races have sort of come to this world. And I think each monarchy race and each um, humans speak this and other beings, many, I think I've counted roughly about 9 or 10 maybe different races that I've come across. I think there's warrior races as well, as you know, and I also think that the Russian monarchy was so behind the scenes, but they hold the keys, the cards, the access. They're able to travel pretty much, go to and fro from any place in the world, underground, dumbs, bunkers. They have access to all, pretty much almost anywhere. They're able to meet with whoever they want, and there's some sort of they have extortion belts. It's a very strange thing to say. It means that within their belt realm, they're able to access technology with this belt they've got that's able to call up any information they want. And I think that's how they threaten certain world leaders with sort of dirt, bravery, and sort of different types of influence. So that these powerful world leaders, a monarchy, they have to cooperate in order for them not to be killed. Does that make sense? But in terms of the question you asked, not really allowed to answer that question. It's not that. I think really when it comes to that lineage, what you're talking about, that would also tie in with the film, the fall, in terms of this digital makeup. So some of these beings, these what you the L is in they have outer, inner, and etheric scale. So able to change, but their origin or their place. So they're able to eat certain things that are not normally consumed by sort of organic living beings. And that's one. But I think the influence is answers the question in a way, but I'm not allowed to say too much about that.
Okay, well, you did mention the Russian monarchy. No, that was eliminated mostly by the Communist Party. Perhaps could you? Is that what you
Not
meant to
all.
say?
Oh no, fairly enough, there's not many of them left. I'm not talking about the forefront monarchy. This is a surviving. Uh, how should I put it? I'm not explaining. This is a surviving panther race, panthers. they're not like don't take this wrong. I'm not racist or prejudiced. It's they're not essentially uh white sort of Caucasian. They're not essentially Caucasian white sort of European say Scandinavian say heritage, but they're more pertained. It's very difficult to explain. They have a, like they say about blue bloods, blue blooded say humans, monarchy lineage. It's almost even thicker than that. They go back to almost browny blue blood that they're able to manipulate their bloodstream in such a way to the point that um, they're, they're from the realms of Africa. They've managed to. Sorry, James, didn't mean to talk to you like that. That was highly rude. Reaction. Sorry about that, James. What I'm saying is that you're right. Yes, I don't know much about that. I suppose I'm only talking from what I know. And sorry about that, James. But yes,
So,
that's
Jimmy Payne has stated that in the timeline where the South won the Civil War, the Confederacy did not join World War II, and the Germans took over the UK in that timeline. And one of the first things they did was eliminate the British royal monarchy. So the British have their own time travel division, which they utilize to go back in time to the Revolutionary War here in the U.S., our Revolutionary War, and they arranged things to be more negotiable because all the timeline showed the United States having their own country. But in this particular timeline, they negotiated to secretly still control the U.S. And we're going to go, that's like we're talking about the. It was a alcohol a tax treaty with the United States through the Puerto Rican Trust, known as the IRS. So, but we're jumping around here. So, but and that makes you wonder why the coffin was so big when they um, paraded the dead body of the queen. So, because she's like 12 foot tall, but yeah, I totally understand that so they're under a lot of restrictions too. So they have their own controllers, so they're not even free, and that's sort of the system that we're in. But hopefully, we can help liberate planet Earth to free ourselves one day from despotic rulers like Saint Germain wanted. Could you comment about Wakanda? Because somebody brought that up. Now, Renetta Jones and I did a session where we explored Wakanda, and what we found was that the whole area was highly protected, and there were, of course, on the ground there are dinosaurs right in that area, so you're not going to even get close to the portals to get inside. Do you have any information, David, on that?
yes. Firstly, before I say anything, sorry about my interruptions. And also sorry for one thing I also say is your knowledge and the guy just in the chat room, the guy just wrote in saying about what he was saying. I don't know as much. I'm not a historian. I'm not someone who keeps up to date on all. I'm just talking from my own what I've personally seen and what I've. So I do apologise for that. So in terms of got to be careful. I think also that's funny. It's very strange connection there. That would it just signifies a disclosure in itself. Um, I know that Africa has a more enriched and prosperous, wealthy underground underworld than it does above surface. And in that sense, despite the slavery on top of the earth, underneath it's a very prestigious. So people can even drink sort of golden fluids and stuff, and they've got access to like fruits that can maintain and preserve life in ways that we on top of the land. This matrix type thing, not able to have access to the healthy food that in these places in Africa, and we can travel for miles and miles and miles in like these villages and towns and different things. Wakanda, don't know that much as such, but one thing I do know is that the signification when going back a few months, I kept hearing the voice in my head saying Wakanda, Wakanda. I think it's Wakanda. It means the explanation of magic, means undoing the occult. The name of it itself. So I suppose the eternal life or the kingdom underneath the earth, having the health and wealth to live a natural, uninfluenced, like chemtrail, they haven't got all the problems on top of the surface of the earth. So the consumption of what they do, they're able to one thing they do is sleep for longer periods of time, so that when they go out doing sort of things they have to do, physical things, they're so well recuperated and so living in sort of without sort of the infliction of disease or starvation or drought, stuff like that. Unless it sounded very general, then sorry. To the point that I think, in that sense, a lot of what goes on in Africa is on the top of the surface. I think there was such a hierarchy of, well, not hierarchy. I think what it comes down to is that also, in the sense of Wakanda, they've had access to how should I put it? Um, let's just say they. I think when the dinosaurs were active in some civilization, they were also um, these. I got that wrong. Sorry, no. I'm not. I can't really say much more on that, to be honest. Only from the memory blocks. So from that sense, I heard the voice several times, but I do believe that not only do these underground bases have tunnels that go from Russia to Africa to many different places. I think also what goes on underneath is a lot more. I think the rules are different. I think preservation of life has been more efficient. That's all I can say on that, really.
Good. Okay. Q17. Thank you. So Jimmy Payne will be coming on here on the 30th, I think so, or 29th next week. So you can ask him that. But Jimmy did say they went back in time through Montauk and they found that these, uh, what he described was that every 7,000 years, this planet has gone through a pole shift and everything gets wiped out. I mean, imagine a 1,000 mile per hour wind blows everything down and kills everything, and the atmosphere uh, deteriorates, and then everything eventually it takes thousands of years for the environment to come back. So, but in the past, this our planet used to have a more favorable atmosphere, and some of these creatures, these dinosaurs, could just eat themselves bigger and bigger. So, like the big, what are they, brontosaurus things? Those things that would just keep growing and growing and growing until they die. So they can get like the size of a couple football fields. But supposedly there are still dinosaurs here on planet Earth, located in remote areas of the Congo, and they act more like guardians now for some of these other portals. So, Ramses. So, did we cover the Digital Tesa?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Go. That was the beginning, right, where you're talking about the Aladdin Island thing.
It's so funny what you were saying just then, the correlations. You know, like when people talk about things and then you talk or the interviewer talks about things without any form of discussion about things. And it's interesting. People come to the chat room and like, people, Jimmy Payne saying, without ever speaking to Jimmy Payne before anyone else on this chat room, there seems to be connections and correlations. And one of the main criticisms about myself is that I feel inadequate in ways that I've not been able to fully retrieve and fully work through all of the programming and conditioning. So obviously the Holy Spirit, Jesus and God takes me through things, but at the same time I tend to find that I just seem to get very hurt if I'm trying to like some blocks and almost like but at other times it's strange. It's almost like the intensity of the programming and trauma is almost well, I can't always deal with it. I get blackouts and stuff. But at the same time, what is interesting is that when working through things, yeah, correlation, definitely a big correlation there. The Tessa thing, I personally believe what landed on the island in that cave pretty much is almost in every computer, plasma, that sort of computer that technology. So that is a lot of I think, well, yeah, even to this very this sort of phone I'm using, there's pieces of this stuff that I'm not sure if it's able to duplicate itself. I'm not sure what they did there. I think there's been it's dump, they call it dump there. So when something and yeah, so goes into how should I put it, oscillating frequencies. So these tesseract crystals have a how should I put it, a sensory capacity to adapt to other tech. Well, no, I shouldn't say too much on that. Yeah, so there is one thing I said. Yeah, I'm not just gonna up and leave now, but uh, first of all, I don't like doing that 2 3 hour interviews. The reason for that is I'm not as, how should I put it? Like James has worked through things more, and a lot of people have managed to break through a lot more stuff. I'm only a sort of 1 hour, 30 minutes sort of type of interview viewee, really. So I do apologize. And you guys, in many areas, know a lot more than I do. And I'm not a historian. I don't know all the ongoings, and to pretend to know things I don't. That's sort of me sort of trying to sort of saying I'm sorry if I can't answer every question. Um,
Dave, you're doing an incredible job. Please feel joy and good for all that you're doing to help teach everybody. So we appreciate your time for coming on here. All right, well, we're going to wrap it up now. So again, if you feel so inclined, please donate to his PayPal. It's in the description. And you can also donate to Healing Soul Survivors, our 501c3, which sponsors the work that I do for you. And also, you better get up and vote. We got for those of you who live in the U.S., so we've got to save the swamp here and vote early. So if ver- also go to subscribe over to our Rumble channel just in case something happens here on the YouTube thing, because we are definitely censored since shadow banned. I've noticed we're only growing about 200 subscribers a month, but on so that is like less than 1%. But on Rumble, we're growing about 20% a month. So go subscribe over there. And I've also noticed, even though we have way more subscribers to YouTube, there's more views on Rumble. So it is, but that is what it is, and we're just going to work with it. Go to Neological Tech, purchase a copy of my book, and I go more into some of the secret space program missions that I've been on. I describe a little bit about what the SS. Well, a little bit. It's 400 pages, but so you can, while you're there, also, everybody's wondering what this clock is. UFOs are real, so that might be worth something one day. Get yourself a meditation cube. You can put this on your lap. You meditate about 30 minutes a day. And I only have a few of the smaller units left in stock. Once that's gone, the only thing I have is the monastery. So there's pyramids in here. They all point inward. It creates chi energy. It's a chi energizer. It will help you relax and feel good. And I put these things together. So, all right. And it'll probably be I say probably. It will be a collector's item one day. So, all right. Well, we're going to end it there. Thank you all, listeners, and stay tuned for this message. So, again, go get yourself some LifeWave patches. It also helps us out, the nonprofit Healing Soul Survivors. So, see ya. Today, we are exploring a breakthrough in health and performance, the X49 performance patch. Joining us again is Arthur to explain a little bit about what this is about. So thank you, Arthur, for coming here.
Thank you, James, for having me. I'm excited to talk about this incredible patch.
So, Arthur, what is the big deal behind the X49 performance patch?
The performance patch is a clinically proven product that boosts AHK copper peptide in your body, which has a wide range of benefits. It helps improve strength, stamina, recovery, and supports bone health by increasing bone density and reducing bone breakdown.
Wow, so it's more than just a performance booster.
Exactly. It also supports cardiovascular health, improves hair and nail growth, and even helps regenerate dopamine and serotonin, which enhances your motivation and mood.
Wow, that's very impressive. Now, I've heard a lot about phototherapy and photobiomodulation therapy lately. Can you please explain to the audience how these therapies work and their benefits?
Absolutely. Photobiomodulation therapy uses specific wavelengths of light to stimulate cellular function and promote healing. It enhances blood flow, reduces inflammation, and supports the production of beneficial compounds like peptides. The performance patch utilizes this technology to activate your body's natural healing processes.
Well, Arthur, that sounds incredible. So, in addition to boosting your physical performance, the patch also supports overall health and well being. So, could you please tell us a little bit more about how it improves bone health specifically?
The patch lowers NTX levels, which are markers of bone breakdown. By reducing these levels, it allows bones to strengthen, leading to better bone density over time.
Wow, that sounds really important, especially as we age. You mentioned it also impacts dopamine and serotonin. So, could you please tell us a little bit more on how it does that?
Yes, it triggers pathways that support dopamine production, boosting motivation, and also supports serotonin through the 5-HT pathway, helping to improve mood and overall mental well being.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, I've also heard it helps reduce exposure to EMF. Now, how does it do that?
Yes, the patch provides protection from electromagnetic fields, EMF, which we encounter from devices like our phones and computers, helping minimize potential disruption in our body's natural processes.
So, it's helping physically and mentally, even while reducing EMF exposure. Is there anything else people should know?
Yes, it also boosts key amino acids like alanine for performance, histidine for repair, and lysine for collagen production, which supports healthy skin and tissue.
Well, so this particular LifeWave patch sounds really incredible. Thank you for coming on here to explain a little bit more about this product.
My pleasure, James. It's a great, non invasive way to support both body and mind.
So, if you're looking to improve your performance, recovery, and overall well being, the LifeWave X49 Performance Patch could be the perfect solution. So, everybody, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you all later. Please consider supporting Super Soldier Talk by purchasing your own Neo Meditation device. Your Neo Meditation device will help you reduce stress, integrate trauma, enhance intuition, enhance clairvoyance, and enhance creativity. Get yours now at www.neologicaltech.com.